Hello my friends and welcome to Italy a Place to Love YouTube channel. Italy a place to love and Italy a place to know. So what do we have to know about Italy today? Today we are going to talk about the Italian citizenship. So people who can apply for the Italian citizenship, which in Italy we call iure sanguinis. Okay? So iure sanguinis means who descend by Italian ancestors. So the Italian who can apply for Italian citizen, the Italians abroad who can apply for the Italian citizenship, which they have an Italian ancestors. So which was the law until yesterday and which one is gonna be the law from today, because it's very particular. So let's investigate. Then I will also share my opinion, my consideration about the Italian who can apply what is right or wrong according to me. Now let's see and let's start reading a bit. Italian citizenship, which we call iure sanguinis, so who descend by blood. Sangue in Italian is blood, so who descend by blood. Further restrictions. So the Italian foreign minister just released yesterday changes about who can apply for the Italian citizenship. So let's start reading. The Italian government has approved a new regulation to restrict Italian citizenship applications. Now, I already agree, but why? And let's see. Anyway, in particular, they approved a new regulation that significantly restricts access to Italian citizenship by descent, iure sanguinis, starting immediately. So from today is already active. It seems like then applicants will only be considered if their ancestors born in Italy is a parent or grandparent. Great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents will no longer be considered under the new law. Okay, let me say my consideration, my opinion about this paragraph. Now, and I agree. So why do I agree? Now, the actual law used to say that whoever in the world had an Italian ancestor that was alive after 1861, so the year that in Italy we had the unification of Italy, the year 1861, 1861, so we are talking about the 19th century. We are talking about more than 160 years ago, 164 years ago. So if you had an ancestor who was alive when the unification of Italy happened, you were entitled to apply for the Italian citizenship. But this means that if you have a great-grandparent or a great-great-grandparent, and you were able to prove that by a birth certificate, for example, that a great-great-grandparent was born in Italy. Now, for me, why I agree with the new law? Because for me it's a bit too far. Now, if we're talking about parents, obviously the child has the right to have the Italian citizenship. If we're talking to grandparents, also, because anyway, grandparents are not that far. But let me give you my picture. Now, for example, we have 2 parents, we have 4 grandparents, and then we already have 8 great-grandparents. We are talking about 8 great-grandparents, to not talk about the great-great-grandparents, which we have 16. Now, if I was born in the United States, let's say, and my great-great-grandfather was Italian, means that 1 out of 16 was Italian. Now, if I had great-great-grandparents from 16 different nationalities. Could have I applied for 16 nationalities? Obviously no. But for me, it's a bit too far, in particular because I have 16 great-great-grandparents or 8 great-great-grandparents. So for me, it's a bit too far and it's good. And we are talking about 165 years ago. Now, there are Italians who totally lost the connection with Italy. And maybe because nowadays, Italians, someone who was born in Italy in 1880, I mean, we are talking about 140 years ago, who maybe left Italy in 1900. So we are talking about 125 years ago. Probably these people of Italian, they have nothing left. And if they became American citizens, they are American. If they became Brazilian citizenship, they are Brazilians. And actually, it seems like during the last 10 years, there been a kind of abuse. First, there was a problem with the consulates of Italy were packed simply, and probably they couldn't even process the amount of requests that they had from the applicants of people who were trying to get the Italian citizenship. So, for me, they had to kind of put a new law because, okay, we had this law from 1861, now we are in 2025. Now, let's change it. Let's put, for example, 80 years. Now, if I have a grandparent, a grandfather, or a grandmother about 8 years that was alive after 8 years ago, fine. I mean, I have nothing wrong with people who can apply for the Italian citizenship. But simply, in this case, is causing problems because, for example, the applicants from South America, from Brazil, or from Argentina increased a lot in the last 10 years, from 2014 to 2024, and is also creating problems. So it's increasing, for example, the Italians abroad. Now, I've been an Italian abroad, but I was born in Italy. Anyway, I'm an Italian citizenship. Then I left. If I had children while I was abroad, I would have applied straight away for my children to have an Italian citizenship as well. Anyway, the new regulation is the law, decree, whatever. Being an Italian citizen is a serious matter. The foreign minister told reporters at a press conference. The granting of citizenship cannot be automatic for those who have an ancestor who emigrated centuries ago without any cultural or linguistic ties to the country. Now this, I don't know, but for me this is the most important issue because I don't care too much about cultural thing. You might have been educated under different, let's say, traditions, and that's fine. I don't mind. You can apply. I don't care about the cultural thing. But the linguistic, for me, it's a very important thing when it's about citizenship. It was crazy for me, for example, to see during the years people applying for the citizenship and not even speaking a word of Italian, simply because they had a great-grandfather or a great-great-grandparent Italian. Come on, let's be realistic. It's not because I want to discriminate people. It's not about discrimination. But at least I want to see someone that even if you have a great-great-grandfather that is Italian, but at least, are you speaking Italian? For me, it doesn't matter. Even if my grandfather is Italian and I want to apply for the Italian citizenship, I have to prove that I'm able to speak Italian. What's the point to be a citizen of a country and you are not even able to speak the language? For me, that is the biggest matter about the Italian citizenship. Anyone who can apply. Now, I don't know if this is put under this new law. I couldn't find much about this. This is the only the linguistic ties to the country. I don't know if they want them to prove a linguistic tie, or is just a statement which, because for them, if the parent is Italian, I believe children might speak a bit of Italian. If grandparents are Italian, I might even think they might give for granted that who has an Italian grandfather or Italian grandmother might speak a bit of Italian, but not necessary. I believe that if there is an Italian parent, yes, I believe the children might speak Italian, not even correctly 100%, even if there is personally what I think about my consideration when I have in front of me an Italian. Now when do I have an Italian in front of me? I have an Italian when that person is speaking Italian like any other Italian. Now, this could be a bit controversial, I know. Now, I don't mind if, for me, there are people, for example, my wife, I give you this example. My wife is not Italian. She's entitled for the Italian citizenship. She will apply in the coming future. Then, for example, for the wives or for the husbands, the Italian government, around 10 years ago, they put a new regulation that the husband or the wife of the Italian citizenship who is not Italian has to have an Italian test. Now, and I agree. So my wife, if she wants to apply, if she wants to get the Italian citizenship, she needs to speak Italian at a certain level. They don't pretend to be Italian native, okay? That's what I want to explain. That it's not important to get the Italian citizenship. It's enough you're able to communicate, to speak Italian. But if I don't have someone fluent in front of me who is speaking Italian, that person can have, obviously by right, by descent, or because he's married, have the right to ask for the Italian citizenship. But I know that in front of me, I don't have an Italian. That's the thing. I mean, Italian by being born in Italy. Simply that. The language is what it makes an Italian Italian. Not just the fact that this person was born or is married with an Italian. You can get the document, that's fine. But I know that that person is not Italian. Simply. Then can have an Italian citizenship by not being an Italian. That's fine. But why I'm saying why I'm saying these things? Because now in Italy we started having immigration in the early 1990s. So before 1990, I don't remember one immigrant in Italy. I don't remember. When I was a child, when I was 12, 10, we were only Italians around. I never saw anyone from any other nationality unless was a very wealthy person coming to work for a big company and was called from United States, and maybe I had one family in a town of 50,000 inhabitants that wasn't Italian, or someone who married. But generally we didn't have immigration. The immigration process in Italy started only after 1990. What does it mean, this? It means that nowadays we have the children of the foreigners who moved, for example, in the early 90s. Now, I can say from Romania, I can say from Albania, I can say from Nigeria, I can say from Morocco, I can say from many nationalities, which these people, Egyptian, which these people moved in the 90s, early 2000, let's say, and they gave birth to a child on the Italian territory. Now, this child, which I'm talking to today, because nowadays I can see maybe a Nigerian or a Chinese, even a Chinese, and this is what is shocking me. not shocking me in a good way, in a very good way, when I see, for example, someone from Morocco, who his parents are from Morocco, originally from Morocco, and this person was born in Italy, now is already 25 years old. I'm talking to an adult. I have an adult in front of me which is speaking Italian exactly like me. Not even that. When personally, this is my opinion, when I have this person in front of me, doesn't matter the color of the skin, I see an Italian. I recognize an Italian because that person is speaking Italian exactly like me. This makes me proud, for example, to see someone who is not, because Italian is not like English, that is a language spoken everywhere in the world. Everyone is studying English. That's fine, you know, from this point of view. But Italian is only a language spoken by Italian people, by people who move to Italy. So when I see this second generation, let's say, I give you an example. We have a football player who is called Mario Balotelli. Who doesn't know Mario Balotelli? Mario Balotelli he has Nigerian origins. Now, when I listen speaking Mario Balotelli, he speaks Italian like me, no difference at all. So it doesn't matter. At that stage, it's fantastic because it's not important anymore, the color of the skin, which maybe for the parents made it was different. So if I see nowadays a 60 years old man who moved 30 years ago to Italy from, let's say, from Romania, and I can still feel that obviously after 30 years, it's like me, I will never be at a native level in English, okay? So if I stayed all my life in Ireland, till the end of my days, I would have kept this Italian accent. Do you get it? So I can become an Irish citizen. My children, if I'm gonna have children in Ireland or in UK, they're gonna be exactly like any other British. So they're gonna speak like any other one. So when you are talking to me, when an Irish person is talking to me, it's saying, oh, Antonio is Italian, we fully understand each other, but I can feel that he's not Irish, or he's not British, or he's not French if we're talking about Italy. But the children of a generation after, so the children, they are fluent, and now in Italy think that a child of a Nigerian can only apply to the Italian citizenship only when they are 18, even if they were born in Italy. This is crazy, because for me, doesn't matter where the parents are from, but when the child was born and raised in Italy, and it went to all the Italian schools, and is speaking Italian like any other child around. Now, doesn't matter at that stage, for me, it doesn't matter anymore the nationality. I just see an Italian in front of me. But anyway, this is another topic, because we're talking about, I just wanted to discuss what is important for me about the language, which for me, what makes you Italian is the language, mainly. So to claim by ancestors the Italian citizenship, if it's about the parents and your Italian is not perfect, it's fine. If it's about grandparents, you're not speaking fluently Italian, but you have a knowledge, that's fine. I can tolerate that. But if I have to see someone who is coming here and doesn't speak a word of Italian, and then maybe they're moving here, obviously they're gonna learn Italian, I mean, I might say it's a bit too much for me, because then apply like any other person who can apply, if they can apply after working with working visas, with any other type of visa. So I want to make it a bit more equal for all the people who would like to move to Italy, but they don't have an Italian ancestor and they have to follow the rules. So for me, these people about great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents, they should follow the rules as all the other foreigners who want to apply for residency and then citizenship. Then the changes, let's see shortly. Applicants who have at least a parent or grandparent born in Italy will still be able to apply for citizenship if all other requirements are met. Applicants with more distant ancestors, such as great-grandparents, will no longer be accepted. Documents checked will be enhanced to prevent fraud. So there has to be a check, obviously. Applications already submitted under the previous law will be reviewed based on the rules applicable prior to March 29, 2025. Anyway, I've noticed a lot of disappointment on the socials, in particular in all the groups about expats living in Italy or people who would like to move, relocate to Italy. I saw a lot of disappointment about this because at the moment it seems like there's a huge demand, big request of the Italian Italian citizenship. Let's read, for example, here. Italy has a population of around 59 millions, which has been shrinking for the past decade. The Foreign Ministry has estimated that under the old rules, 60 to 80 million people worldwide were really eligible for citizenship. Now, which is quite a lot, it's even more than the Italian population itself. And again, I want to make the point about great-grandparents. 1 out of 8 is Italian. Am I Italian? But I have other 7 nationalities. I could have had 1 Italian, 1 French, 1 Spanish, 1 Chinese, 1 Norwegian, 1 German, 1 Polish, and 1 Russian. So, and then, anyway, what makes you Italian? Just because you had 1, no, according to me, that doesn't make you Italian. 1 out of 4. So if we're talking about grandparents, 1 out of 4, I can accept it. I think it's honest. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has previously suggested that Italy could overcome its demographic decline by seeking Italian ancestry from nations like Venezuela. I don't know. Anyway, they speak a lot. By contrast, the children of migrants born and raised in Italy who speak Italian fluently have to wait until they are 18 before being able to apply for a passport. This is crazy. This is crazy. I see a 15-year-old child. Originally, his parents are from Nigeria. He's speaking Italian fluently, and this person in front of me is not an Italian citizenship. I mean, for me, this is disgusting. Simply disgusting. Anyway, there was here just one paragraph that for me was quite interesting and I want to read. Between 2014 and 2024, the number of Italians living abroad rose by 40%. So in 10 years, from 2014 to 2024, increased 40%, from 4.6 millions to 6.4 millions. Many registering thanks to their newfound nationality. In Argentina alone, citizenship recognition jumped to 30,000 in 24 from 20,000 in 2023, so 4,000 just in 1 year application, too many. While Brazil saw a rise to 20,000 from 14,000, so we are talking about 6,000 people who for sure doesn't even speak a word of Italian. And then for me, maybe I would make just one little exemption. So if you have a great-grandparent or a great-great-grandparent, but you are fluent in Italian, then I would give you this chance. But if there's no Italian language at all from these people, I would say no. Anyway, even for who have parents or grandparents, personally, I would put an Italian test, as even my wife, when she's going to apply for the Italian citizenship, she has to have an Italian test. Obviously, now that we are living in Italy, her Italian is improving, she's getting familiar with the language. Now we already know that she can apply tomorrow and she's gonna pass this exam. It's not a difficult exam, but she has an understanding of Italian. I wouldn't give the Italian citizenship if there's no understanding at all of Italian. Then residency, that's another story. I would give residency for everyone who would like to move to Italy, um, pensioners, or people who would like to buy a property. I would give the residency simply just because you want to buy a property. And that will, believe me, that will help the house market, the Italian house market straight away. So these are the things I hope someone is gonna watch this video and is gonna share it and express that these should be the way that things are done. So great parents, great grandparents, grandparents, at least an exam of Italian. You are married with an Italian, you have to have an Italian test because language, and then if you have a child that was born in Italy and is fluently in Italian, he doesn't have to wait till 18 years old to get the citizenship. He has to have it the moment he was born. That's it. Then it's up to him what he wants to do in the future. All right, my friends, I hope the video, I see the video is already long enough. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know your opinion, share under the comment section. And so, I'll see you here on Italy, A Place to Love YouTube channel. Bye!